Look, the truth is it's very hard to talk about education in this country without talking about the whole society in which it mainly fails to occur. You can hardly talk about schools, without talking about cities. And the cities are in the hands of financiers. The cities in the hands of pirates, thugs. And our children, therefore, are victims of this, are victims of the principles according to which the country is run. The country is not run according to the, either the will of its citizens, I hope, or the good of its citizens, I know that, but for profit, for money, to make money. And education is a billion-dollar industry. And the least important part of that industry is the child.
I never saw black people in our textbook unless they were in shackles or standing with Martin Luther King Jr. Most of us rarely interacted with a black adult outside the aide who rode the bus with us. I liked school and I loved learning, but I never quite felt right or good. I felt very black and obvious because I knew that my experience was different from that of my peers. But I also felt invisible because this was never acknowledged in any meaningful way.
You, it seems, are the manifestation of several lifetimes of toil. Brown v. bored in the flesh. Most days the classroom feels like an antechamber. You are deemed expert on all things Morrison, King, Malcolm, Rosa. Hell, weren't you sitting on that bus too? You are everybody's best friend until you are not. Hip-hop lyricologist, presumed athlete, free and reduced sideshow, exception and caricature, too black and too white all at once. If you are successful, it is because of affirmative action. If you fail, it is because you were destined to. You are invisible until they turn on the Friday night lights. Here you are star before they render you asteroid, before they watch you turn to dust.
You can be black and Afro-Latinx, you can be black and Afro-Cuban, you can be black and Muslim, you can be so many things on top of blackness. Like, blackness is a diaspora, it's everywhere. It's not just in one location, it's not just in Africa, it's not just in the Caribbean, like, it's everywhere.
For Superintendent Willie Jett, educating the new arrivals required changes across the board.
What we've had to do is start from ground zero. You're trying to make sure that all those different languages within school are welcomed. You're trying to make sure that you have interpreters. You're making sure that you're revamping teaching staff and support staff and the way that you hold conferences, the way that you send messages home. It's not what it was 20, 30, 40 years ago, even 10 years ago.
Staff member Sebastian Witherspoon is one of the group's founders. What do you want them to learn?
Difference is okay. If you're from Somalia, if you're from Duluth as a black male, if you're from Robbinsdale, whatever, there's beauty in difference. There's beauty in coming from different places, being different culture, have different ethnicities. That's, to me, there's education to me, is having all these people who have a variety of experiences and us learning from that to enrich our lives.
Among Afro-Mexican communities here on the Pacific coast of Mexico's Oaxaca state, this dance is symbolic. Locals say the devils represent the growing power of African descendants in this part of Latin America. It's a history that's beginning to gain global attention. An Afro-Mexican leader from Pinotepa Nacional says, as a nation, Mexico is much more than just a mixture of Spanish and indigenous people.
We believe that the whole world should know that in the colonial era, Mexico was an entry point for African slaves. Our ancestors were forcibly brought here under slavery.
Everybody knows who thinks about it that you can't change a school without changing the neighborhood, and you can't change the neighborhood without changing the city. Ain't nobody prepared to change the city because they want the city to be white. All the American cities have begun to crumble when the white people moved out to get away from the niggers. Every crisis in every city is caused by that. How can you expect the people who cannot educate their own children to educate anybody else?